Welcome to the Real Triathlon Podcast. I'm your host, Garrick Lowen, here with Nicholas Chase and Jackson Laundry. Welcome back to the Real Triathlon Podcast. It is a new year. It is the same old us, but
yeah, it's 2024 now, right?
Oh, it's 2025 now,
Oh yeah,
Jackson, and we all have actual podcast mics, and we got to talk about something real serious here. I know they say new year, new you. Nick, it's a new year, new do.
Yeah,
Sir,
look at
with the perm, what in on God's green earth made you want to get a perm?
well, sometimes people will be telling you what you should be doing in your life, and you listen to them, and sometimes you don't. And this time, my hairdresser, I went in there, and she's like, one day we should try a perm. I bet you kind of have like the same hairstyle as my husband's, and he looked freaking awesome back in the '80s with it. So I was like, I got nothing to lose. Why don't we try it? And yeah, we got a full head of curls going on. Still strong. I think I've had it for almost a month now.
It's permin. It's definitely permin.
I mean,
It would look better with a mustache, but
yeah, I think that's going to happen for camp. I'll start on that now. But I was thinking like, and I've said this probably a few times,
are we
like
doing camp mustaches?
we can, we should,
We
I mean,
should.
if I start now, by the end of this month, I'll have a little bit,
Wait, where are we going? Okay, camp is in
15 days.
2 weeks. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I got a negative start because I just shaved the whole scenario
I did too.
3 days ago.
I shaved this morning.
I shaved it last week. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, so what are we doing? Goals and
Yeah, I mean let's catch up first, guys. This is 2025. Like,
oh yeah.
how
It's
was your
January
New Year?
1st, so everybody knows we're recording this on a statutory holiday, which means your guys' Patreon contributions are doubled for today because we're working on a holiday.
Don't even bring that up. Don't tell them. Don't start.
Yeah, Nick, feel free to pay me time and a half right now.
Oh man. What about me? Do I ever get paid at all ever? I mean,
As a
that'd be
business owner, you only get screwed.
nice. Yeah, you're not lying. We are I think this is a good time of year to do a lot of things. I think personally, very honest, over the last few weeks, probably since I came back from Cincinnati, which was like 10th or 12th of December, I've been wrestling with a lot of the how much should I give a shit? And like I was amplified and wanted to do some stuff. And then I started doing more training and fun stuff. And I got a little tired. And then I was like, I don't really want to care. I don't feel like I have to care. And so for me, it's been like a lot of wavering on how much do I actually care. And then finally today, or actually yesterday, then I did the 100 by 100s before the 1st of January. Like that's kind of like, I feel like I'm back in it. How's it been going for you all with maintaining, trying to be an identity as an athlete with the holiday season?
Well, I mean, Jack and I got into a nice little groove over the holidays. We were training twice a day together and in the morning, and then I think we pretty much every day between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, we had something going on in the afternoon. So I was in Guelph and we were getting swims in, getting runs in. We didn't bike together just because moving a trainer is a pain in the ass, but it was
We
good,
didn't even
man.
bike on Zwift together. You kind of dropped the ball
No.
on that. Oh, look at this.
But
I've got
it was
some
enough.
hot
It was
apple
enough
cider
to
coming in.
kind of get through the holidays, right? I think December was kind of rough. Like most of I would say those of us in the Midwest and in Ontario, I got sick and it knocked me on my ass and I lost so much strength. I felt awful for like 2 weeks. But we got through it, came out the other side. Yesterday did 25 200s on 3 minutes in the pool
Me
for
too.
2025. I figured you would.
Nice.
I
Man, that
feel
was
like
long.
getting
I was like, I don't think I've done a main set longer than about 2K. And now this
Yeah.
one's 5. And the fastest part is the last part. I was like, oh, this would be great. I'll go like 225s. And then I was like, wait a minute, my arms are not working anymore. So it's a good old,
James kept giving me like
failure set.
4K workouts and stuff, and I'd just be like, I'm gonna go until I feel like I'm done. That's about as far as I'm gonna get. And normally it was about 30 45 to 50 minutes. I never quite made it to an hour. I was right around 4K in yards because I was swimming meters. So I just
Yeah.
kind of did some easy math there.
Did you take a day off in December, Nick, during your off season?
Um, Probably.
Mm.
I think I don't know. I don't remember.
No, but you
It's a
took
blur.
after your last race, how much time did you take off?
I probably took the week after Cozumel. I think that was actually where I didn't. I think I waited a week to even do anything. So that was pretty much it. And then, like, I wish I would have gotten sick, honestly, because then I would have felt bad about laying around and doing fuck all. Instead, I just was in this like weird dance of like, yeah, I really care, I don't care, and I probably should do more. Now I'm a piece of shit. Like, it was a bad year for my mental state.
Everybody gets that in the off season. Like I was like warning my girlfriend. I was like, just so you know, in the off season, it'll be great for about 4 or 5 days, and then I'll just feel like a bag of turd for for a week or two probably, and then I'll start doing stuff, and then I'll feel a little better, and then won't be till like I'm back in shape that I really feel totally back to normal. So, that's just the way it is as elite athletes and just athletes that push themselves hard all the time. You need the break, and then you take the break, then you don't feel good. But then if you didn't take the break, you would have eventually just broken down and felt even worse. So it's one of those things you just got to do.
Someone told me something pretty prolific the other day, and it was just a simple conversation, and it like struck me. And I've probably thought about it, but not maybe in these exact words. But he was like, yeah, I feel like no matter what, we are addicted to fatigue. And I think we normally think we're addicted to the process of training and then the endorphin rush. But I think like that level, that baggage of fatigue we carry around is like value to us. Like, oh, I've got a lot of fatigue, so I must be working hard. I must be putting the effort in and satiating my hunger for whatever it is. So that when you feel like recovered and you're like less thrashed, it's almost like I'm worthless. I don't have any fatigue on me right now. That's like it's really weird, but I never thought about it that way.
It's so true. Like when you don't feel super fatigued all the time, you almost feel, I don't want to say like worthless, but you feel like you haven't achieved anything and you feel
Yeah.
like you have no purpose, kind of. Like you're not working towards anything. You kind of just in a state of being. You just are what you are. You don't feel like you're driving towards something, towards a goal, and you're just yeah, in a state of being, I guess.
As if life isn't hard enough. We're like, trying to make enough ends meet to keep food and lights and people fed. And then all of a sudden you're like, I feel like shit because I'm not thrashing myself. Way to go, life. But now we're heading to 25. I think that page has been turned, at least in my book, to feel like I've got a lot of things to look ahead, especially with camp, especially just traveling. I think traveling, I'm also probably addicted to a little bit of that, like getting outside of my bubble, just being out there in the world and seeing different cultures and lifestyles. So that's really why I think another reason why being home for a full month or whatever is like tough sometimes.
Well, that's a perfect segue into New Year. We all got through our off seasons. Now we got our goals for next year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're rolling into the new year, right? So everyone sets goals and stuff. It's a new year. We can, I don't want to say reset, but we can build towards what we built towards in 2024, right? We're not resetting, but we're continuing on. We're rebuilding or we're continuing to build. This is the next story. So I think it'd be good to kind of get into maybe personally get into some of our goals. Maybe three can set three outcome goals, three process goals, and a non-triathlon related goal. That includes not the podcast as well. So something completely outside of the podcast. I know maybe you guys don't have too much going on outside of triathlon since it is your work.
I have some goals I can just throw that are not triathlon related.
Good. I think sometimes it's good to detach just a bit and chase something outside triathlon, even though it does require so much to make it in this sport. And you do have to be very focused. But with that, yeah, who wants to start?
So what are
Well,
we
can I
gonna do? One goal each, and then we'll just roll through and take turns.
No, give us your three outcome goals, and then give us your three process goals that it's going to allow you to attain those outcome goals. And then
Well,
at the end, we'll circle back with non-triathlon.
All right. That being said, I'll go last.
all right. I'll go first because I think I have a lot of pissing and moaning to do about goals in general because I do work with a lot of athletes who solely relate and rely on these outcome based goals, which are oftentimes like a reason why you don't meet your goals is because you're only focused on the outcome. So if I was to pick some outcomes right now that would make me feel like 2025 was a win, it would more be along the lines of financial growth for the team. That would be amazing to see if we could bring in an extra 20 to 30K just because we've been doing that year after year. So that's a goal for me. Another outcome for my personal goals would be to finish. Actually, that would be more process. So I guess placement at any of these Ironman long distance races, I'd love to crack that top 10. Really would want to be in the top 10 at some Ironman races this year. That's probably pretty, pretty fathomable. It's not too crazy. And then another outcome would probably be getting back into like top bike split shape. That'd be great. That's tough because I'd love to do that sub 250 run consecutively at most of my Ironmans, but I think the bike is going to be key if I can get that close to 4 hours for sure. So those are my three. Now you've had time to think about yours, Garrick.
What are your three process goals that are going to get you there?
Oh, you want me
Or
to go through all of them? Okay. Processes are going to be for what was the first one I said? I don't even remember anymore.
It
you wanted
was
to
top
bring in
10
an
Ironman.
extra, yeah,
Oh
top
yeah.
10.
Oh, the
So
team.
yeah,
Right.
so continuing to find companies who are either startup level or growth orientated, who are looking to tap into some marketing or some. I mean, we've added a lot to our team this year, so I think we're looking to tap into that. So just networking is going to be a huge thing for me. Getting back into that. What was the next one? Was it the bike one, or was that the
That
last
was
one?
top 10 in Ironman.
Oh yeah. So that the process I'm going to have to focus on then is like really enjoying all the training. Like I think I've sometimes jade myself into like, oh, the same route, the same hills, the same reps, but I also come to rely on those as like I really like those staple workouts that are compounding and grow every week upon week so you can see progress. I'd like to do some good testing to make sure that those numbers are going to, I think for me to get those top tens, it's always come down to nutrition on the run. So I think the biggest thing is making sure I exactly to the T replicate my sessions nutritionally that I plan to do on race day with suitable climate and intensity. And then the last one for biking is I just have to really have those sessions I had years ago, which is automatically going to happen since I'm back with James. So I'm really confident that biking is going to get there. So those are the processes.
Go back to what
Boom.
works. Sometimes your process is recommit to a process that worked in the past. So I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we add a little bit here and there, but ultimately we do
Speaking of
know
that,
what works.
we got to get back on the Zwift train. What'd you say? It was Mondays or Fridays? Or
It's
both?
supposed to be Mondays for me at least.
Same.
All right. We'll do it.
Nick, yeah, no, that's good. And I like your comment about like the outcome goals. I think sometimes people are way too driven to outcome goals and they do kind of get in the way because that's all they think about. And they don't rely on the process. They're kind of instead of going from A to C, they're just they're ignoring B. They're trying to
Well,
get there.
the triathletes are notorious for this. Anytime I'm around big groups of them, we always talk about what we want, what we're going to go do, what the final outcome is, and I think that it pulls away the importance of it. If you talk about something enough, you're already getting the endorphin rush, the satisfaction of talking about it. You feel like you've gotten closer to that, but then you like don't like you lack some of that discipline because fuck motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but you lack the discipline to follow through all those to get to that outcome. So that's why I don't like to talk about, hey, I'd love to go to Kona or all those types of things. I want my processes to substantiate to that, whatever they might be.
Exactly, yeah. Um, all right, so I'll go next.
Yeah.
So three outcome goals. Okay, a big one for me this year. I think it's like a actually let's go first. Like an easy goal. I think this year is I want to hit 200,000 downloads on the podcast. We did 138 last year, And the goal was 150, so we missed it. But I think this year we can do it. When I get to the process goals, we will
Look at those
talk about
mics. I
that.
mean, with those mics, it's guaranteed.
Can you
Yeah,
hear me breathing?
exactly.
God.
Outcome goals. So another one that's a bit of a reach, but I don't think it's too far, judging by my last Ironman, is I want to break 8 hours next year. I
Yeah.
want to find that course. I want to do it. I want to break
Go to
break eight
Roth.
hours.
Come to Roth. You're guaranteed to break it if you have a good day.
I'll do the Hamburg Roth double, and then it gives me two chances to break it.
Yeah. I love it.
That's
Uh,
dirty.
and a final outcome goal will be I want to consistently be over that 300-watt mark for my Ironman bikes. So I did
Full
305
distance.
last year, 305 was my best last year. But there was no swim, so I want to consistently kind of hit that in
And
the
that was on
races.
my wheel at Chatty.
Yeah, yeah. It took more than 300 watts to be drafting Nick.
Those are great, man. Those are
Yeah.
good goals. I like it. I think that you're freaking there. As long as you can keep that little Achilles of yours hanging on tight.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's it. Just hang. As long as it doesn't pop, I think we'll be fine.
Just get a prosthetic and like maneuver them together. Prosthetic slash regular.
Like a prostosis, yeah.
Yeah.
Um all right. Process goals. For the podcast, we're gonna get this episode out 50 weeks out of 50, no, sorry, 48 weeks out of 52 weeks because obviously holiday and couple races. But last year the goal was 3 out of 4 weeks, and this year I think we can do a lot better than that. So we'll uh
Did we
we'll get
get the
on
three out
that.
of 4 weeks? I think we probably did.
I didn't count, but it was close. We had a misstep there, but my big thing is we just got to be consistent. I just want to be consistent, even those weeks that one of us is racing or something. Yeah, just get an episode out, get
Well,
something
here's
out.
an idea too. Like, because Sky Monch does this for hers. Like, she just will talk by herself and just give an opinion or a take on something and just do a bit of an update. I think that any one of us
Yeah,
could just do our own solo send episode if need be, because we've all got a great insight.
I think so. I've thought about that. I've thought about just coming on and like ranting and putting it up somewhere, and just putting it up. But this is the year to do it. It's time
Yeah.
to do it. So
Marketing.
yeah, we
I
did
like
take a
that.
step last year, and we want to take another step this year. We're gonna get more clips out there on social media, and we're gonna be more consistent. So that's for you guys. Another process goal is I want to consistently hit that 20K of swimming every week. Last year, I only averaged about 13K a week, but that was, a few weeks off and stuff like that. Probably averaged 15K within training. So I want to consistently be over that 20K because this year I need to stop my regression in the swim. And that could have been an outcome goal, but I think it's kind of the process. Let's stop the regression. It's even if we don't progress, at least stop that regression.
Let's get a shirt. Let's stop the regression.
Yeah, let's do it. And then final process goal was, you know what? Let's swim 2K a band every week, at least 2K.
Ooh, that's
Hmm.
dirty. I like it.
And only
I
2K.
Yeah.
I just started doing the old band work again during my hiatus of let's take it seriously, let's not. And then after a while, I was like, all right, I got this has got to stick. Got to keep it
Yeah.
around. The
We
turnover, the
did,
power, it's great.
Garrick and I did one workout where we kind of ad-libbed it a little bit because the lane was busy and it was like a moderate kind of swim. We're like, all right, let's do 200 band only and 200 free alternating for 10 200s and not hard, just like
Long
steady kind
course.
of effort with the band. Yeah, long course. And then like an easier effort with the free. And we didn't even talk about this, but Garrick, I forgot my band at home. So we only have one band. So I'm like, okay, Garrick, let's alternate the band, take turns. And he took off first on his easy free, and I did the band steady. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go right on his feet and try to keep up with the band on the feet, kept my stroke rate up. I usually was getting a little bit dropped by the end of the 200, but it just like really kept that cadence up and like gave me that thing to push for, and it was like not too hard an effort. And then when you went to the free, it was like so easy to swim like
Yeah.
250 for 200 long course, no band, like just freestyle. It felt like an easy effort. Whereas if we just kept it all free, the 250 would have definitely felt a little bit, like pushing a bit more. So I really think the band's great if you're like at a reasonably we've talked about this in the swim video, but for Garrick and I, we were like, oh, that was nice. We actually swam some easy 200s in a decent time there.
I think when we go to Cozumel, band work in the salt water is going to be great.
Oh yeah, the
Into the
buoyancy.
current.
Yeah. Epic.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That 25 by 200s, the fourth round of 5 200s, I actually did them just straight band and I was coming in like 250-ish, 250. One of them was 255, which was tough, but it was on 3 and really killed me for the last set.
Nice.
Oh, you did that the hard way, man. That's tough.
All right. So
Um,
process, band, go. You nailed it. I love it.
does that bring us to me?
That brings us to Jackson.
All right. Well, I think outcome goals for me are good because I almost opposite of a lot of people. I almost am like too, I would say,
Conservative.
too conservative with my I don't really set, honestly, I don't really set outcome based goals. And sometimes that can lead to a little bit of complacency where I'm like, well, I'm just doing my best and whatever happens, happens. But like, I'm going to set some pretty aggressive ones this year. So, first one, I'd like to be top 5 in the Ironman series at the end of the series. I was going to say top 10, but this one's really, I want it to be challenging. I think with top 10, like, I think I could be top 10 with the same performances I had this year. And I don't want that. I want to get better. So top 5 in the Ironman series.
Well, real quick,
Um,
like you would have probably had that had a couple of Iron Man gone a lot more in your favor, right? That would have been it.
I probably would have been top 10 if I had not cracked. Like at least, I mean, I would have had to have a decent day in Kona as
A
a
good
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Frankfurt and a good Kona.
Yeah, like even just a decent one of each might have been in that top 10. But I mean, you know, that's just it didn't happen. So uh this year, starting the Ironmans earlier with Ironman in South Africa, then going Ironman Texas. So really focused on those races that I'm gonna have a really good shot in, rather than just throwing in the last 2 Ironmans I could to try to get the series. So that's number one. Number two is achieving the swim kind of success I had in like 2021, early 2022. I was swimming like lead, like not necessarily lead pack, but right within striking distance where I could just pounce and catch those guys really quickly. And I haven't really done that since like Oceanside 2022, which is the race I won. So getting back to that level of performance and measuring it by like deficit to the leader. And I know guys are faster now, but like I got to be faster now. So I think that would is the probably most critical thing for me is just being closer on the swim and not having to really use so much on the bike to get back in these races.
Under a minute
Um,
deficit, pretty much, is the
I think
absolute.
so. I think like around that 30 seconds for a half, minute for a full, under 130 for sure, but like under a minute ideally. And there's fast guys. I mean, we've got fast guys coming into our camp that are going to be there showing what the level is. So that's for sure important. And then the last outcome based goal. I know that for me to be really successful in the series, I'm also going to need to get those Ironman run splits down. I'd like to run like 240 flat. I really think that's doable. Like a little over 240 would be I'd still be happy with, but like targeting that as like a realistic pace and you know setting myself up with a better swim and not having to burn quite as much matches on the bike will both contribute to that. But also just I haven't done that many Ironmans. It's experience, it's pacing. And just like what happened with the halves, where I wasn't that quick the first year, I focused on halves on the run, and then all of a sudden it started like clicking on the run. Hopefully that's going to happen. So I really need to focus on the run training. I am upping my run frequency, mileage a little bit, but mostly just making sure that I'm focusing on technique in the run. Well, we'll go into that with process, but yeah, running 240 flat, obviously on like my best run of the year, if I'm at 240, and then if the conditions are a little worse or whatever, a little slower, that's fine. But so those are my three. Now, process based, um, pretty much in coincidence with each goal for the swim. I've I believe I'm really on track for this so far, but really just not sort of getting complacent with my technique. And I think I've ingrained some really good habits that are starting to show dividends already, but just focusing on that good technique, even in the hard sets, even if it feels like for some of the sets, if I have to swim a little less hard still over the next like month or so to retain that good technique, I think is really important because I'm still building towards having the strength to hold on to it in the harder swimming. Um, so it's close. And honestly, it's probably mostly fitness at this point. That's making it hard to hold good form, but just keep, you know, if I feel like I'm doing a hard set and I'm like, you know what, I feel like my technique's a bit out the window on this, just dialing it back and being like, all right, just swim as fast as you can with good technique, even if for today that's not quite as quick um, for the next little bit. But yeah, keeping that focus on the little bit better rotation power through the back part of the stroke is what I've focused on, and I'm going to keep doing that. The second one, for the run, um, just making sure I'm setting myself up better to start each run. So a lot of the times, if I'm like late or whatever, I don't do those quick little activation exercises, little stretches I need to get my posture good, to get, you know, the body feeling good to start the run so that when I start, I already have the cues. Okay, slight forward lean, strong with the core, those little things. And if I'm running kind of lazy or not thinking about those things, I feel like I can kind of re-ingrain a little bit of bad habits. I'm not trying to like change my stride. I'm just trying to activate the muscles properly so that I'm working properly when I'm running. And this is what I was really focusing on in the off season from 2021 to 2022. And that's where I came off the off season, went and did Oceanside and won the race with my fastest run ever. So just those little like things like doing the skipping, doing the dynamic stretching type drills seems to really help with running a bit more efficiently for me. Was that my second one?
Yeah,
Okay, that was
that's a
the
good
second
one
one.
too. It's a good one. I think even when I was started to just walk and pull that tire, it made my hips stronger. Like those things, those little tiny things, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes before and after a run, like those have saved a lot of me.
For sure. And they do make a big difference. And they're the first things to go away when you're kind of like not super focused on your big turn, like your goals are like just being professional, you know, just turning that light off and going to sleep a few minutes before you feel like it, because that's what you need to do to get up and get going on time in the morning, those types of things. So that leads into my third process base, which is that just, you know, having for me a good daily routine. I'm in an earlier routine now. The holidays kind of like made things shift a little later, but we're getting back to it to where it's like good bedtime, consistent, get up in the morning, get out and get some light, get my first little run done or do at least a walk, get the day started on time. And that allows me this time to like do the proper dynamic stretching and do the good nutrition and focus on the workouts properly, and just those little things that go by the wayside sometimes in like the holidays or times where you just don't have as much time, which is fine. But to just be now January 1st, starting now, really consistent with that stuff. Even when I'm in Mexico and the team stuff's all fun, like, okay, you know what? Get up the right time, do your activation before the group run, before the group swim. Even though your friends are around and chatting and everything's fun, just do the process you need. So yeah, I think those things are all not major, but I feel like they're going to get me to where I want to be. So
Well, they're great because they're just like a mindset. They're not like you really have to change much about what you believe in, or it's just like you're just nudging that 1%. And I think that's for, of your caliber, Jackson, that 1% is a big change at the outcome. So it's just a mindset. I love it. It's great. Especially getting up early. Now you know what it's
well,
like.
it's not too early. It's like 7:15, but
I think Amy and I get up almost around 5:30 or 6 now. Like I think I slept in until 8 today and I was like, the day's gone. The day is over.
yeah. Well, if I'm getting up at 7, we can start our bike rides. I mean, I'm gonna do a little easy run, have a good breakfast, then we can be like starting the meetup by 9. Maybe I've even done some warm up before that. So
That's good for
that's
me.
gonna be perfect.
Oof, pushing a little early there, don't you think?
Look who it is.
Uh, no,
Okay,
that's
wait.
good.
Now we have a
It's like it'll
non-triathlon
force
goal.
us. Yeah, I think the 9 o'clock's good. It'll force us to just, like you said, get the day started.
Let's
Well,
do it.
I just have always really appreciated the evenings and winding down and being able to actually like turn off work and be able to just, I don't know. That's probably one of my non-triathlon goals is instead of doing nothing after those time periods, like watching TV or bullshit, Netflix, HBO, like I just want to do less of that in the evening. I want to like play card games or whatever, board games, have fun with the family, and do less mindless stuff. I think in the evenings because I've just told myself I'm too tired normally. But I think that will add a lot more value to everybody's life at our home. So I think for me, that's a really good non-triathlon goal.
Just bring the cards to
Camp.
Mexico.
Yeah, I'll teach. There's a game that one of our athletes started playing that her and her husband play all the time. I got to learn how to play. It's called Nerds or something, but I'm gonna learn how to play it and see if Amy and I can figure it out.
Do it and then teach us. I love games.
Yeah, man. Garrick.
I'm kind of just going to build on my goal last year. Last year, my big goal was communication, and that because that was something I kind of struggled with before, and I think I took a big step last year to improving my communication. But on top of communication, I want to improve my efficiency with a lot of stuff. Just I feel like sometimes I have a lot of dead space, and I can really improve on maybe not filling it with less just like mindless activity if it's like TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram, stuff like that. And I'd like to, yeah, do that because that's going to ultimately allow me to be more efficient. I know it's not triathlon related, but it'll be more efficient in triathlon and also my work. So
Well, and you'll
work
be like
life. And
honestly, not to be super cuddly, but like you're more present for Morgan and like the stuff you have to do together. So I think in the evenings, if you guys are at home and she's not working some crazy shift, it's like good time.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, to circle back to what kind of you were saying before too about training and getting going, that bleed, like when you take time and you procrastinate for whatever you're doing for training or whatnot, like it does bleed into the evenings. And then it circles back to where if you're training late, then you don't go to sleep late and then you're getting up late and then it brings into the next day.
We should call
Um,
Cody Beals.
yeah.
Oh, we love Cody.
But yeah, just efficiency and communication. That's my big thing this year.
Well done. Jackson, what's your non-triathlon goal?
Well, um, I mean, I'm trying not to copy too directly because it's pretty freaking similar. But yeah, I think just to even simplify it down, like not as much of the little time, like the little bits of time where I do have whatever to do what I want, just not really scrolling the reels and doing that type of stuff. Like, that just doesn't, you never feel good after that. Like maybe for like a couple minutes on the warm up with a trainer or something, but like you never do that for like 10 minutes and you're like, I'm so glad I did that. That was great. I learned like every once in a while you maybe learn something, but that is valuable, but it's also probably stressful and it's about how effed up the world is. So probably not really a good thing. So yeah, I'm gonna try to reduce that down to a minimal and the space can be filled with just even like listen to a podcast or something that's not as just like totally mindless. I can maybe learn something instead.
I think one piece of advice I can give on efficiency type stuff is the one rule I have is if I think about something, a person, a task, or whatever it is, it's for a reason. It's usually because my something is reminding me, and I do it. And if I don't do it, it does get procrastinated. But if I just stick to the act, the like it's just as easy as that. Like just get up and do it right now, rather than I'll do it in 3 hours. Because then in 3 hours, something else is going to come up, and that's going to pile up. So just do things immediately, and I think then you feel better when you finally do get an hour in the evening to kind of relax because you can. You don't have to have something pulled off, and it's as simple as that. Just make actions happen immediately.
That's it, man.
That's
Like,
from my
just do
memoir.
it. Just do it.
Just do it. Anything is possible, man.
Somebody should come
It-
up with that like as a slogan or something.
That'd be a
Yeah,
great slogan.
I
Use
think it'd
that.
be good for
We should use that for
triathlon.
RTS.
We can make
No,
shirts.
our RTS has embraced the journey, bro. That's it. It's a
Oh,
new one.
that's okay. I mean, that's pretty similar, but it's good. Okay, so I think there's some RTS news we need to also talk about.
Yeah. What news? Where should we start?
Well, we'll start with the bad and then move into the good. So
All right, we're shutting down.
that's not true.
So the bad news is we added athletes.
I have more feet mouths to feed.
Yeah. No, the
Um,
bad news is, well, I mean, not necessarily bad news, but just, you know, medium news, I guess. Tamara Jewett is moving on to another team, not another team, to her own thing, maybe
yeah,
to another team. Actually, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, we'll find out on social media.
Yeah. So yeah, she just decided that Nick knows more than me, but I think she just wants her own, to be able to fully control her own destiny and that kind of her own story and that's cool. And we're gonna be friends still and hang out at races and hopefully she graced us with her speed for a few years there. How many record run splits did she get under RTS? It's pretty cool and some great overall performances as well, of course.
Yeah, we really enjoyed Tamara's presence on the team, and we know as a team members will come and go. We are a stepping stone. We are a process to hopefully greatness, and some I may stick around forever. If I probably will. I mean, because I don't really know what other team I'll go to. But maybe one day Jackson will be very lightly affiliated, but still part of it, or maybe he goes and does his own thing. Like anybody is welcome to that anytime. So I think it's more of an honor to be part of anyone's journey and to help and add value. And of course, being on a team, you do have to sacrifice a lot of your own personal, I guess, viewpoints. Not necessarily on topics outside of triathlon, but like the way you look. That's a big one, and I think that over time, you just want to have your own thumbprint on yourself. And so there's no hard feelings. We love Tamara. She's always going to be an RTS alum, and we'll cheer for her always.
Absolutely. We
At
had a lot
least
of
now
fun
we
at
don't have to get
training camps.
outrun by our female teammate as much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Uh,
Next
in
news.
any case, next news. All right, somebody else drop something.
Garrick, you had the preliminary news. What
Yeah,
else is the news?
we added a couple new athletes.
A
Nick,
lot of new athletes.
yeah, Nick, if you want to kind of go through that list.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah,
But for sure, you can. What's the pro female we just brought on?
that's a good question, Nick.
You can say who it is.
Are we allowed to say? Yeah.
Yeah. We launched. We
Lisa.
did that today.
Okay. It's Kate Curran.
Kate Curran.
Yeah.
How do you
She.
know her? Where did
I
she come in?
yeah,
What's
I've
her
never
deal?
met her before. So Nick, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I guess it was kind of a conversation that started after she came to the US early this year for a few races. TTL helped her get over here and she was a part of their team. And we just kind of chatted in the old Summit hot tub after a swim session with me and I think what was it Ben Hammer, the other gentleman from Australia that Mark stayed with or something. Just a couple cool kids chatting and she just kind of asked some questions and we kept in touch. And then after a while, I just felt like her tenacity, her drive. I loved that she cares about nothing else but winning. She was super fun and lighthearted. And she also, hangs out with a lot of the people we know. Like she's really good friends with Fennell Langridge. Um, and I just thought having an international presence would be really fun and an opportunity to see what we could do. And she was, of course, keen. And it kind of was like a 2 or 3 month process of kicking it around. And then we just decided it was a good idea. So that's how that happened. And
Yeah.
super
And the
stoked
big
that
thing, yeah, the big thing is, since Tamara, who is a lawyer, left, Kate
yeah.
is also a lawyer, so we had to bring a lawyer on.
I got to have someone proofread my contracts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess like with RTS athletes coming and going, like I think there's more of just like, I don't know, community feeling that athletes want to be part of. And we haven't launched our pro male who we're kind of teasing. So I won't say that. Well, actually, it'll be out by that time. So it's Colin Suk, and I was blown away by him early this year with all of his racing. And then he was also like leading the pro series for a couple of minutes, and just seems like he's so in love with the sport, and he's such a good personality. Everyone I've ever spoken to about Colin is like, oh, he's like one of the nicest guys, just like a similar vibe we had with Mark. And so I was like, how could we not bring on another athlete to help nurture and develop them and give them an opportunity to just maybe have a little bit less cost associated with the sport? Because it pisses me off so bad with the level of cost to participate in a sport without the level of investment from a lot of companies that expect you to do everything. So that's why I was like, let's help out more. And then we have, I think, another 10 just pro athletes who came on board who were just doing anything we can to help with, and then another age group conglomerate. I can go into that too, but we don't have to. It's up to you guys.
Well,
Dive into it.
What do you
I just
think?
wanted to say with Colin, maybe Nick was already thinking it, but I was like, Nick, here's this young fella that's really solid athlete. He's raced about 46 times and he's pretty much gotten better every race. So maybe to have, and I chatted with him briefly at a couple of races and seemed super nice. And let's be honest, we got to bring in some youth to this team. Garrick is our last holdout in his 20s, and he's almost 30. He'll be 30 in a few days or whatever. So we need some future of this, organization when we all start getting old and retiring.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So the other pro athletes who put their hand up and said, "Hey, how can I be part of RTS?" And then I was very forward with them, saying like, "I can't do a whole lot for you, but we want to bring you in and do more for you as we continue to grow." So here we go. Here's the list. We've got Dominika Jamnicki, who was on last year also, or this, yeah, 2024. And she's going to go more long course. Sam Teller, who is mostly focused on Xterra and has done really great there. We're keeping also the previous athletes as well, Leslie, Nicole, Lisa. So they're going to be sticking around.
Mark,
Liz, yeah, Mark. Yeah, I was going females only. Mark's here, of course. Um, Liz Lucia, who's in Salt Lake City. Andy Fuller, who's I've known for a while. Really excited to get Greg Harper on engaged, and he's his swim prowess. He's gonna see a lot of growth from you all as well at camp. Andy Kruger, Vant Lammers, Rachel Mensch, Alexander Frank, Amanda McCuba, I think. I always mess it up. Ali O'Donnell, Tom Roby, Lauren Courtway, Cheyenne McGregor, who's also one of our Endurall coaches, and Steve Rosinski, who's also on RTSX this year. So those are our pro athletes who are coming on additional. And then RTSX is more of our elite amateur, both genders represented: Colleen Baker, Michael Gannon, Savannah Gibbs, Jonathan Ockert, Flocka, Maria Teresa Guerrera. You know her very well. Guerrero, yes. Cassie Cobb, Tyler Subota, Blake Mitten, Natalie Stewart, Kelsey Barnholt, and Vilis Viscans.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got cool people. I mean, I know didn't really make it sound like it was like big announcement, like a game show, but we're super excited. People are coming on.
Yeah, man,
Nice.
huge growth this year.
It's awesome to see the growth. Like, it's really cool to see remember when we were like, during COVID, we were like trying to start this team. We're on all these calls with these sponsors for asking for like $3,000, and they're like, I don't know, it sounds sketchy. It's like, oh man.
I know you're not wrong. We were like, well, we've got a podcast and we've got three of us who really are stoked. We'll wear the same kits. Like, I was looking back through all the pictures from 2018 and 19. Just, it's cool. Like, that we've been doing this for so long now, and it's grown. It's not failed yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, as long
awesome.
as the world stays in one piece, so will RTS.
Yeah, as long as I don't die. And also, like, Lisa Becaris has helped on our social media growth for, like, we've gone, I think, 25% growth there. Everyone has really put in a lot of effort to just be very active with our partners and social media. We just, man, I think we've got a good niche for bringing companies on who are actually going to do something big, like Katamoto shoes. I really feel like they're going to make a big swing in the industry and provide a lot of growth. Zoo already be one of the biggest partners, partnering with Castelli, Buy Saddle, changing the game on comfort. Like there's just a lot of innovation, and I like to pick companies out who find a hole in the industry and they're like, let's make it better. And that's really, I think, where we've gotten pretty fortunate. A lot of stoked people.
Yeah. I can you bring a pair of those Catamotos for me to the old Mexico? Try them out.
So that's part of the plan too. We're trying to become have Buy Saddle be the U.S. distribution point for Katamotos. So the big order that's coming is going to be probably right around camp. So they will get them to you, no problem. But I'm just trying to figure out if they're going to come from um, Scandinavia or from here in the U.S. But we'll work with Diedrich, the owner, to get you set up, buddy. Don't worry.
Do it. All right. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well,
Beauty. All right, boys.
What do you want to
this
do next time?
podcast one.
that's
What do you mean next time?
Next podcast. What do you want to do?
Well, that's people
for
have to
next
tune in.
podcast,
They'll have to
probably.
tune in to figure it out.
Okay.
I have
All
some
right.
ideas, but we're gonna take it off air.
And what we're gonna do is coordinate launching a video and audio podcast. So there's not like a hey, I want to see it, but I can't hear it, and then I want to hear it, but I can't see it. We're gonna have those synchronized.
Yeah, that's actually. I guess I forgot to just mention that in my process, but yeah, every Thursday the episode is gonna drop on Thursday. Every Thursday, that when we launch, it's gonna be Thursdays. So
Thursdays.
yeah, we're
Thirsty
making it
Thursday.
Thursdays.
I was thinking
Yeah,
Thirsty Thursdays.
there's a
People are
whole
thirsty for the podcast on Thursdays.
yeah. So there's in the triathlon that's the day that pretty much nobody drops their episodes. So we're gonna drop on Thursdays.
What can we do? Like I was thinking about the podcast space also. What are they doing any differently than us?
I think the one big thing, um, uh, is that a lot of people. The thing that's the big problem for us when we talk and when I edit is that we're all in different rooms. The best podcast flow like when you're in the same room talking with someone, just like having a conversation. We always have just a very slight delay in communicating with each other. And I find that like the Joe Rogan podcast, like Rich Roll, like all the big podcasts is there's a reason they all do it in the same room together, right? And it's just like talking face to face. But that's kind of where we are. Every other triathlon podcast is the same way. But that's
Well,
a
that's
big thing
against
there.
other triathlon pocket like the Triathlon Hour, or I honestly don't know what other triathlon podcasts
We're
list,
trying to
but like,
use.
yeah, like what is it about? What do people give a shit about, anyways?
Yeah,
Drama,
let us know
gossip.
what do you care so much about? I think people like the behind the scenes stuff for sure, like the realities of triathlon and that
It's
kind
the
of stuff.
people, the
People,
names too, right? Like the triathlon hour goes out and gets
yeah,
like the toppest name of the minute.
like
Yeah,
So I'll
yeah,
just win every race I do, and then
yeah.
we can
no,
have
but
real big
the
views on those
top
episodes.
the top triathlon podcast, the Crushing Iron podcast. It's number one. It's been number one for years. They don't have guests. They never have guests. All it is, it's actually a pretty good podcast. I listened to it for years. All it is the one guy going on and motivational speaking the whole time and talking
Whoa,
about and telling you and it's the biggest podcast. And they
that's
talk
cool.
about it's not really just motivational, but he gives training tips and he kind of talks about training and stuff like that. And it's just the two of them on there talking every day, every once a week they drop, and that's the biggest podcast. Um, but you know what?
Crushing
Like I
iron.
just people need to let us know like what do you like? What brings you back to this podcast in particular? How do we make it better? Let us know. If we're doing a great job and there's nothing else, leave us a 5-star review. That would be awesome. I do think a big part of our podcast too is just people telling people, tell your friends that you like the podcast.
Here's
A
another
lot of
thing.
it,
Ask your friends who don't listen to our podcast if they have, why did you stop? Because we can't really, or we could do that on our account. Hey, did you used to listen to Real Try podcast and you didn't like it? Tell us why.
hmm,
Hmm.
Because all the people who listen to this like it. So it's going to be hard to figure out why the people who aren't listening don't like it, you know?
Yeah, or they just listen because they hate it and they want to hate on it.
Oh,
which
cool.
is
We
fine.
don't have a lot of
Yeah,
haters.
totally
All press
fine.
is good press.
Yeah. But yeah, I
But
think there's there's a whole there's stuff we can talk about off air, but yeah, kind of, I don't have all the answers. I probably
why
don't have
not?
any.
I've been hoping. I don't
But
know anything else.
Hey, well, you know what? Let's celebrate 130 something thousand downloads last year. That's pretty freaking good. Was that right?
138.3.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like
That
we
is pretty
should.
cool to think about. Like, I mean, I don't know anybody else who does that.
Yeah, it's good. We got a good thing, and let's make it even better.
So I forgot to mention this, but at Cozumel, as I was walking back to the hotel after I got my bike and me and my son were walking, there was this older gentleman and he was probably like 60 and he was racing. And he looked over, he's like, I recognize you. You boys have that podcast. I listen to that every. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a farmer and he's a triathlete and he listens to our stuff. And he reached out to me afterwards and was like, oh, I'm so glad I met you. Like, I think that's the coolest part is when we go to a race and people are like, hey, I listened to you this morning on my flight because I was bored and now I'm not. Thank you.
Yeah. I found in Canada, especially when I'm racing, people know the podcast and people know us. Like when I was in Ironman Canada, so many people, I lost track of how many people came up to me and were cheering for me while I was racing and saying stuff about the podcast and all that. Like it gave me so much motivation and it was so cool. But I feel like we don't get that as much in the States. I'm not sure why, even though 40% of our downloads are from the US.
Because there's about a
Mm,
billion more people
yeah.
Yeah.
per capita. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna eat my own face, so
You
we
hungry?
better cut this off.
Yeah, and I got to edit this to drop it tomorrow on Thursday.
Okay.
Look
Well,
at that.
start cursing so we
All
can
right,
give him a
boys.
lot of work.
Until next time, peace
Ow.
out.
Out.